This saga about an entitled neighbor with no boundaries is a couple steps short of a Lifetime movie. Part 1 is titled Neighbors Sending Their Relatives to My House to Try to Use My Pool Without My Consent. The front of my driveway has a sign that reads, "Private property, no trespassing," as you pull up to the driveway. I have a fence up around my pool to keep out unwanted animals and intruders, with the only way in as a key to unlock the gate. I have security cameras in certain places of the house pointing to the pool. Last summer, while I was away, my phone alerted me to my security camera having caught something, so I checked to see the live footage. It was 3 teens that were in their early teens and 1 adult trying to climb the fence to my pool. I have a tarp over my pool at all times, which can only be removed by a switch inside my house. You'd think they'd see the tarp and leave. I immediately called the police, and they said they'd take care of it. The 4 didn't even attempt to leave, they just kept trying to climb the fence. I watched as the 4 were arrested. The day I get home, my neighbor must have been watching from my car, storms over and starts screaming at me, "My sister and her kids are going to have a criminal record because of you!" I said, "So that's what my cameras detected? You should know my sign in the front of my yard says private property, no trespassing." She says, "I'll see you in court when their court date comes up." The sister of the neighbor pled in court that it was a hot summer day and they wanted to cool down, so the sister insisted that they go use my pool, but to ignore the sign that said private property because her sister and I are good friends. My neighbor and I are not good friends. I explained to the judges that I did not give consent for the neighbor to use my pool while I was gone. The judges saw all the evidence needed, especially the sign in the driveway saying no trespassing, and found the neighbor and her sister guilty of second-degree trespassing, which in my state carries the punishment of a $200 fine and 20 days in jail. The judge found the 2 nephews and niece guilty as well. My lawyers requested a restraining order, which was granted as well. The teens' lawyers tried to argue that the teens didn't know about the sign in the driveway, but the judge dismissed that because they willingly listened to their mother and aunt that it was okay to trespass. Okay, quick rewind. You allow people to go on somebody else's property and get mad at them because they called the police? You know the first thing that would have happened if they would have been injured, or even worse, they would have been trying to sue and bring charges to OP. But as we move on in our saga, instead of leaving this neighbor alone because they know they will use the legal system to protect themselves, this neighbor keeps right on going. Part 2 is titled, "You're going to be out of town, so your driveway won't be used by you." Update. My husband and I are keeping our cars as well as my stepkids' cars in the driveway. I have a friend who will be going to bring over our mail and check our property while we're gone. A while back, my neighbor, you may recall me mentioning her family tried jumping the fence to my pool, and I won the court case against her with a restraining order being granted against her and her family. I was at the grocery store a while ago when the husband, who isn't on the restraining order because he's always been friendly to me and my family, asked if I have extra security cameras in my yard, to which I asked why. The neighbor claimed his wife has a friend who was at the gym I work for, and that a friend overheard me telling one of my clients of an upcoming vacation I have planned. Then the friend went and told her friend, aka entitled neighbor. The woman then began to try to track when I'd be leaving, and her husband found out in an open email that his wife left open if the parking spots will be open when her other sister and her kids visit. He read the email that once I'm gone, she plans to tell her sister to use our driveway as her personal driveway. Luckily, I have security cameras pointed at the driveway, so I told him to tell her if anyone attempts to do that, they can expect to be caught on camera, have their cars towed, and expect to be arrested for trespassing. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall when he told her this, and would hope she doesn't try her plan because they'll all be caught on camera. You'd think that this entitled person would have said, okay, my sister and her kids got arrested because I tried to do something at this neighbor's house. But this is the Entitled People subreddit. We know they think the world is theirs and we're just in it. So wait till you see what this lady does this next time and what it cost her. Part 3 of our crazy neighbor saga is titled, Entitled Neighbor Tries to Claim My Delivery Package as Theirs. I got home from work a little while ago and got a notification that my package was almost here. I go to wait for my delivery. When I get there, the truck is there. The driver knows me, and as I'm signing for my package, my entitled neighbor storms over but keeps her distance and demands the package the delivery driver has. If you've read my past stories, this is the same neighbor who has a restraining order on her from me as she tried having her sister and her sister's kids trespass on my property, etc. She hasn't learned her lesson. The driver tells her it's not her package and he can't give her the package. She continues to demand the package, saying that if it isn't given to her, she'll just storm over and grab it. I tell her if she takes another step forward, she's breaking the set number of how close the restraining order says she can get near me. She doesn't care and she marches over and then screams, "Because of you, I'm separated from my husband and headed for divorce." I tell her if she hadn't been acting the way she's been acting towards me, her husband wouldn't be doing such a thing because he grew tired of her entitled behavior. She eventually stormed off and went back to her house. Update: I got the driver's name and number so they can prove they witnessed the neighbor breaking the restraining order, then called the police. The last thing I heard while being outside a few minutes ago was a loud scream of, "I didn't break any ethic restraining order!" Update: the next morning, August 30th, 2025, I went down to my mailbox. Entitled neighbor's husband walks over. He's not on the restraining order and says he's not sorry for the loud scream she was yelling at the police and got herself arrested for breaking the terms of the restraining order, assaulting an officer, and for resisting arrest. She had just tried to call him a few minutes earlier asking for bail, but he told her he's not paying for that. I wonder what goes through the mind of a person like this. Okay, I'm totally gonna let my family use the pool of a neighbor who's not home. Then I'm going to get mad that we all get in trouble because I trespassed on their property without permission. Then I'm going to wait for them to leave again and try to do the same thing again. Then I'm going to try to steal from them, get upset that they enforced the restraining order that I brought on myself because I couldn't just go home, and I've cost myself my marriage. And on top of that, you get an assaulting the police charge to make it worse for yourself. Now I have to go looking on other YouTube channels to see if there's one of those body cam videos. There will be another video on this if there's one similar. That was a heck of a story. This woman didn't just double down. Was it a triple or quadruple down? I don't know. Tell me in the comments. That was one crazy story. Does anyone else have any neighbors that act like this? I want to know. And if you have a story, send it to me and we'll make a video out of it. I hope you enjoyed this story because I kept having to redo parts because I was too busy laughing. As usual, I hope you had fun because I always have a blast reading the stories to you. If you do, keep hitting that thumbs up button, keep subscribing, and also tell your friends and share with them. We'll see you next time. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. You made my day. YouTube is showing you some other videos that we have available that are just as funny. Some are from Reddit, some are original content, and some might be from some other places. We've got more content coming in the future. Don't forget to stop by again. See you later.